in the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen many more defendants filing answers in which they challenge many things, but rarely are they in the service. But defendants challenge the right of the bank to foreclose. They challenge whether they're actually have failed to pay. Whether the bank has standing. And the problem is under the case of Beaton versus the Land Court, 367 Mass 385, the Supreme Judicial Court said the only issue in a service member's action is whether the defendant is entitled to the protections of the Service Members Act. Questions about the validity of the foreclosure or whether the person is defaulted or not, things that can be raised in a Service Members Act. Now, the Land Court has been taking the position that, a plaintiff in a Service Members Act must at least have some standing to bring the act. It's been referred to as the Brooklyn Bridge issue, which is what Judge Long talked about in Bevilacqua, which is that you can't necessarily bring an act a Service Members Act to foreclose on the Brooklyn Bridge because you don't own it. So not anyone can just bring a Service Members Act. You have to demonstrate some interest in the mortgage that you're seeking to foreclose on or get a judgment with respect to in your Service Members Act cases. It's a pretty low bar what your interest is. Any kind of assignment or authorization will do. Now that issue is before the Supreme Judicial Court right now in the case of HSBC Bank USA versus MATT, M-A-T-T. That was decided by Judge Long in 2010 in 20 Land Court Reporter 145. It's been argued before the SJC. It's under advisement. It's case number SJC-11101. And, we can expect a decision any day. And we're very much looking for that decision because we want to know specifically what level of standing is required in service members cases. So the way we handle answers in service members cases is if someone files an answer, it's reviewed, and unless the answer challenges standing, it's just struck. If it does challenge standing, we issue a show cause order asking ordering the plaintiff to demonstrate their standing, which they usually do by filing copies of the chain of the mortgage and the chain of assignments. And if that's satisfactory, we give the defendant another chance to reply to that filing. But if it's satisfactory, then we send the case to judgment. So those are the kinds of cases we see generally. Of course, there's always a few unusual ones. But I hope this is helpful, and I hope you all undertake to enter your LAR appearances in any of these cases, because it's really, really is much better for everybody, for the court, for the pro se party, to have a lawyer. And it's better for you lawyers if people who otherwise wouldn't pay to have a lawyer for the whole case are willing to pay some amount to have a lawyer for part of the case, and under the assumption that the fee you charge reflects the actual cost or value of the limited work you do in the case. So with that, I want to thank Don and open this all to questions about anything we might have said. Kathleen.
I just wanted to be clear on the tax session cases. Then you're going to send out the notices for the citations to tell the parties that they have the right to do an LAR hearing?
Yes.
It wouldn't be the town having to do that.
No, because the town never serves anyone directly. The citation comes from the court.
Okay.
So that's correct.
Thank you. Seeing as how most of us did not raise our hands at the start of the session, is there some sort of mentoring system or a system for second sharing in place so that we could shadow more experienced attorney among none?
I'm afraid not. I mean, Kathleen is chair of the real estate section of the. Are you still co-chair?
Some co-chairs
Is
of the real estate section.
of the real estate section of the BBA. This might be a very good question to address to the folks at the BBA or at REBA. I don't know what REBA does. Don's active at REBA.
I've just, I'm the recently departed co-chair of the REBA litigation committee, but REBA has been involved in the development of the LAR program and may very well, in the near future, develop a program like the one you described to give an opportunity for people to shadow and see how the land court works. And get some experience and some confidence to be able to take on an LAR assignment in the land court. And just to circle back again to the case management conference, I think the fact that the land court uses that procedure makes it a really natural fit for LAR, because in just about every case there is a case management conference, and if you are able to represent a client only from taking in the case and giving the client some preliminary advice and then entering a limited appearance at least through the case management conference, you'll be doing the client and the court a great service, because you will grapple with the substance of the case and meet opposing counsel, have a discussion that includes discussion of the facts, the legal issues, as well as whether mediation or some other form of ADR might be appropriate. And that's not going to result in a resolution of every case or even most cases, but at least in some cases, you may have provided the client as well as the court a great service, because you might get the case to the point where the parties realize that some negotiated resolution is possible and the client doesn't need a lawyer beyond that stage. So it's really a great opportunity for LAR, since it's event-based, if you can at least take a client through that initial case management conference.
I'm a little confused about the Service Members Act. Service members are defendants who are currently serving in the military.
The defendants are the borrower who's being foreclosed on, and what the Service Members Act provides is that if you're in the military, roughly, I mean, it's a little more complicated than this, but generally, if you're in the military, they can't foreclose on your property. So in order to ensure that after the foreclosure, the bank has clear title, the bank will want this judgment that the borrower defendant was not in the military at the time of the foreclosure. That way they can get title insurance and convey the property with clear title.
But if they are in the military, then they can't.
Right.
But something like probably 98% of service members' cases don't involve the service member. It's just a matter of the foreclosing entity needing to check the box that they've gotten the court's imprimatur that there is no beneficiary of the Service Members Relief Act involved in the case.
Yes. Yes, sir.
To follow up on the role of the case management conference with LAI, to anticipate a lot of defendants not even realizing they need a lawyer, or that the case management conference is coming up and running and finding somebody shortly before the conference is due to occur. Do you anticipate, how receptive will you be to a request to push it off a week or 2 weeks?
I would be totally receptive to request to continue a case management conference because the defendant just engaged the lawyer or the LAR attorney, and he wants some time to prepare. And in fact, I've started a practice of trying to schedule my case management conferences very quickly after the case is filed, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, knowing that often it'll be continued, but at least some of them will be done quickly and I get it going. Now, I can't speak for all my colleagues. I mean, some of them schedule them farther out and really want that case management conference to happen on the date. But I think most of us prefer to have an attorney at the case management conference than a self-represented litigant. So if that's the basis for the request, I would think that most of us would hear that pretty favorably. Okay, is there anything else? Well, good. I want to thank you all for coming in to do this and being willing to try this program out. If you run into issues, if you do LAR, in the land court, and find something that doesn't seem to be working well, I would love you to contact us. Jill, who do you think they should contact? This is Jill Sider, our administrator. I won't say Jill, but I'm sorry? Contact our court administrator, Jill Zider, just if you run into an issue and have a question about it. If you're in one of my cases and you have an issue, you can contact my sessions clerk, Jennifer Noonan. Because we really want to know how this is working. We do our best to set it up in a way we think is going to work and anticipate issues that come up. But of course, there's going to be things that come up that we didn't anticipate, and we do want to know about them. And the way we anticipate things will be working is if litigants call us, we're going to refer them to the BBA or REBA or the MBA referral panels for LAR attorneys. So if you want to get these kinds of referrals, that's where you should be. Okay? So thank you. Good night and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's fun.
Good.
Always happy to tap the link.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So hopefully it'll work out. I wonder if you'll see any business from that.
Hi, I just want to say hi. I met with you last year when I was in Judge Foster. I just wanted to say hello. How are you?
Sam is now my full-time clerk.
Oh, that's great.
I am, yes.
Were you an intern at the time last
Yes.
time?
Yeah. And now I'm very fortunate to have this.
Beautiful.
I just want to say hello.
I just wanted to thank you for coming to speak to us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. Hi, Mary. How are you? Thank you very much. So, yeah, I understand the mentoring problem.
Yeah, I'm a relatively new practitioner. I'm totally new to the land court, and I'd love to get involved with the VA referrals and know something about what I'm supposed to do once I get there.
I mean, the litigating is really not that different than anywhere else. It's maybe less vicious. I don't know.
There's nothing to say you couldn't go to the land court one morning when one of the judges is hearing a series of case management conferences and sit in the audience and listen to what goes on in one or two of them, or stop in the clerk's office and look at the complaint before you do that, so you have some grounding in what the case is about, and see how it's done.
That you probably won't be able to do because the file will be with the judge
true.
that morning.
Right. Have to go a couple of weeks before.
Yeah.
Foster, I have a question.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you.
Residential is us, and that's just life estate, two sons. Their father passed away, they were counsel.
Mhm.
Would that have been advisor superior?
No, that's potentially land court. It's the issue of what happened to the life estate and whether it exists. And yeah, that would be a right title of interest in real estate. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for coming.
Contacted us. I was like, no. Thank you very much. That was really good. You had a case management conference this afternoon.
I sure
Weren't you
did.
on the list? Yes. You made it.
Yeah.
No, we made it clear to Judge Piper that he had to finish it up in time.
Yeah. And we started on time and we finished in plenty of time.
No, he sits at, you were up in 11:01 or 11:02.
11:02.
Does he sit at the table with you for those? Do you do that?
I've been going back and forth.
Testing it out, see what you like.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it works
I prefer the
really
table.
well
Yeah.
downstairs.
I do. I just think it's more in tune with the spirit of the
Yeah.
conference, which
Yeah.
is to kind of be informal and, bat ideas around and try to, get something done substantively. I think it's a little easier to do that at the table than standing up at your
Yeah,
council
yeah,
table or
that's a good
podium.
point.
Hi, Don, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Nice to see you again, yeah. So that was good.
John Goldberg.
So I wonder how many people
Say
are
hi and put a face to the name.
I was wondering what the.
I see you around.
Well, I think if you're in the But, I'm gonna call Peter Whitmore tomorrow and see what he's gonna do with us. They should, because it's a member benefit. It's a member benefit.
No, they definitely are.
Yeah, good, good. You should see downstairs. I was bringing the, age limit way up.
Curvebuster.
Jeez. It was woman behind me, she was behind me downstairs, she was behind me tonight. And this one, all she did was eat little pretzel thing, then she gets up, I'm like, where did it turn around? This fast or what? It's like when you go to a concert and there's somebody that has to do like forever, why don't you just open the before the concert starts?
For me,
So-
it's always that coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Some